Mike in Colorado.
Sounds
Mike,
good.
you're live with Eric and V.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Thank you.
nice to meet you as well. What would you like to talk about today?
Well, I'm a long-time listener. I thought I'd talk about my journey to convert to Judaism.
If you can put that in a nutshell as a way that we can discuss it and talk to you about it in this
Yeah.
format, awesome. If it's story time, probably not the right format for that. So are
Right.
you, why do you want, let's see if we can convert this into a conversation. You're converting into to Judaism, correct?
Correct. It's
Are you a believer?
or in a way, sometimes depends on the day. I'm an agnostic, 100%, first and foremost. I think 100% truth is really hard to come by and even harder to imagine, or vice versa. And I don't think that Judaism's God exists in the sense that you and I exist, but I am an admirer and a long time admirer of the culture, the history, the poetry of the Old Testament itself.
So, I was actually reading this morning, and I know it's a fact that I'd learned a long time ago, that there are a lot of Christian weddings in Japan, like way more Christian weddings than there are Christians. That the traditional kind of Shinto weddings are not being chosen because the Christian weddings are ones that are more fun, or what people want to have, even though they don't follow that belief. Are you converting to Judaism in the same way that I celebrate Christians, and that Japanese couples get Christian weddings even though they're not believers? Like, is it just the culture that's attracting you?
No, I am enrolled in a course called Intro to Judaism. I was introduced to it by a friend of mine from the Secular Hub in Denver, which is just kind of a hangout for atheists, agnostics, Freedom from Religion Foundation, other organizations to hold their meetups and stuff. And so I talked to her and I said, you're a cultural Jew, but you're also an atheist. And I was wondering, do you have a rabbi, or do you know someone who's a good rabbi? And she said, yes. Are you converting to Judaism because you believe in God now? And I'm like, no, not really. It's just the culture attracts me. The people attract me. The food.
That's what I just asked.
Songs. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I think of the Abrahamic religions, Christianity is cultural to an extent, but you call yourself a Christian if you believe in the God. Whereas I feel like Judaism does straddle that line a little bit better of being both a religion and an actual culture that is separate from it. Of course, still influenced by it greatly. But I think you can, I don't necessarily see a problem with this as long as you're not going to make excuses for, bad decisions made in religion's name. Then if you want to appreciate a culture and that culture is willing to open up to you and accept you, then okay.
Yeah, if you like getting plastered during the high holidays and love challah, go for it, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff is yet, but I would love to.
It is so good. It is so good. It's on the Manischewitz. Manischewitz is terrible. It is truly atrocious, but most other things are fantastic.
The thing, though, for me, the only thing I would be concerned about myself, and I can't speak for you, Mike, clearly, because I don't know who you are and your connection to this, but there is this very weird, fetishization of Judaism in America specifically, and a lot of that does go hand in hand with Christianity. So if you're not a Christian, then this probably doesn't apply to you, but I would feel remiss to not bring this up, that there is, I grew up in my not my immediate family, but my extended family was very into Messianic Judaism, and so they were the whole John Kahn congregation, and they would do Passover, and they would do all of these things, but only pick and choose and it was like authentic Christianity, like tourism type stuff that was really uncomfortable. So as long as you're like actively like, hey, this is something that I want to be a part of, and I'm going to, do everything with respect and, respect the people I'm entering into this agreement with. I don't see a problem with that. I have no problems.
Good call on the fetishization. Usually my example is when people move to Eastern religions because they're foreign and mystical, but you're right.
No, there is a rampant fetishization with being like the real Jews.
Yeah.
Which means we don't actually have to do anything we don't want to do.
By fetishization, you don't mean like sexualized? You mean they're just kind of held up as this is what Jews are like, and
it's not necessarily sexual. It's just like an unhealthy fascination that objectifies a thing rather than seeks to actually understand it. So if you're taking courses and you're talking with people who are Jewish and they are giving you their opinions and you want to go see it, right? Like that's probably not you. Like you're probably fine. But there is a tendency to look at another culture and fetishize it to the extent that you are simplifying and being reductionist about it to the point where it's becoming a consumable thing for you as opposed to a thing that exists outside of yourself in a full historical context.
The appropriation of wasps for Kabbalah.
It does tie very deeply into appropriation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. An interesting movie is Kumare. That goes into. Have you seen Kumare?
Kumare, it was a great movie. I loved it. I cried. It was so good.
Isn't it? But the idea, you have all of these people who are just like, oh no, this is super, it's super magic. Like they don't have a clear understanding that this is just another country's religion. But the idea that there is, just this super special kind of,
Yeah, and again, we're not saying that's you, but for the benefit of our audience, I personally have no problems with anybody becoming a cultural anything as long as you're being vigilant about what you believe and why. Cool, go for it. Don't hurt anybody. We're golden. But when it comes to moving into other cultural realms, like that's when it kind of becomes a thing that you have to just, keep an eye on, keep an eye on yourself and your motivations. But I think you're good, Mike.
Definitely.
I definitely took a healthy dose of advice from both of your shows in the past where you talk about, taking steps like that, recovering, replacing or healing old harmful beliefs like my Mormon beliefs I was raised in, and kind of replacing them with, this is what liberal, this is what today's Jews, this is what unorthodox Jews are talking about in regards to any of these things.
Yeah. Education is always going to be good. Like more education about a topic is never going to hurt you. It's always going to make you more informed and give you better tools to make a decision with.
Absolutely.
So I like that you're approaching this. It sounds responsibly. And as long as you continue to be a skeptic, be a Jewish skeptic. That's totally fine too.
I know. I will never kvetch. No, I don't know what that means yet.
Take care, brother.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Shalom.
You know what that makes me think of? Kids in the 80s and 90s on the schoolyard saying, I know Kung Fu. Like if you're in that age group and you're watching and you were a kid on the schoolyard and that one kid says, I know Kung Fu, you probably have a good idea of what that whole, fetishization thing is. And that's just a really good point. I think I'd love to talk about that at another.
Ooh, maybe we could do a Murphy's Law episode about it.
Maybe we could. I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.